Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's had a good week and you're prepared for the snow that we're probably going to get this weekend. So it looks like it might be a pretty big one. So the teaching principle that we're going to look at today is encouraging others to share the truths that they are learning. And this is going to go well with this week as we're looking at the story of Enoch, who was hesitant to share, considering himself slow of speech, right? The Lord wants all of us, not just his prophets, to have the power to speak his words. Our words may not move mountains or to redirect rivers like Enoch, but they can change hearts. That is why it is so important to give learners opportunities to share with each other what they are learning about the Savior and his gospel. So we want them to be able to practice and be able to practice expressing the truths that they know in their testimony. And this is something for some students that might not be natural. It may cause them anxiety. To be able to do this, that's something that I've seen a lot, where students are just hesitant to be able to do those things. So we want to give them opportunities to practice what that is. So think about a time, just consider yourself, when you talked about a gospel truth with somebody. What did you learn from that experience about how they responded? How to initiate the conversation? When were you grateful when someone had the courage to share their beliefs with you or their thoughts with you? And with your students, again, thinking about what are some opportunities that you can create for them to share and to talk about the truths that they know, but also just to practice. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, is how do we help the students practice that skill of initiating conversations, because that's going to be incredibly important for them as they prepare for their missions. So some scriptural counsel, again, from the Doctrine and Covenants. One is kind of a warning, and one is a promise. So we'll start with the warning from Doctrine and Covenants 60. But with some I am not well pleased, for they will not open their mouths, but they hide the talent which I have given unto them because of the fear of man. Woe unto such, for my anger is kindled against them. And we don't want the Lord to have his anger kindled against our students. We want them to be able to open their mouths. And then the promise, therefore verily I say unto you, lift up your voices unto this people. Speak the thoughts that I shall put into your hearts, and you shall not be confounded before men. For it shall be given unto you in the very hour, yea, in the very moment, what you should say. So just going to look at that with promise, right? That he will put into their hearts what they should say, that when they open their mouths, it will be filled. Those are some promises, but again, those are acts of faith that in order for those things to happen, they have to take the initiative to actually open their mouths and to share the things. So the skill is we're going to look at helping students create or begin conversations. The Lord has asked the youth and young adults to help gather Israel. Sharing their beliefs and testimonies with others will further invite further learning and deepen their conversion to the Savior and his gospel. Some students struggle with knowing how to begin gospel conversations. So that's what we're going to look at. Students can begin gospel conversations by considering first what they are learning about Jesus Christ and his gospel. So that's kind of the what. Pondering who would benefit from the discussion. So now thinking about who's the person I need to direct this to, and then deciding how they will prompt a discussion with that individual. And it can be in different ways, but the purpose is not to share the belief or the experience, but rather to initiate the conversation. So it's not preparing like, what are you going to say? But now we're just going to focus on that little skill of like, how do you begin the conversation itself? What's that opening thing? All right, so let's look at some ideas here.
Towards the end of class, you invite your students to ponder which family member or friend they would like to share something with that was discussed during class. Invite them to write a quick note or send a text that will provide an opportunity for them to visit about it when they see each other. For example, students could text, "We talked about something in seminary today that made me think of you. Remind me to tell you about it when I see you next." Or, "Hey, I've been thinking about the Savior's ability to forgive. Can you help me think through some things about him? If so, when would be a good time to talk?" Discuss with students who write a note that they could leave it on their pillow, kitchen table, or another place the person will easily see.
All right, so you see in that, again, they're not having the conversation, they're just initiating the conversation. So that's just a skill in and of itself, practicing doing that. How do you do that effectively? And again, who might you want to initiate a conversation with? So there's a couple of teaching ideas that will be helpful for this, and they kind of go really well together. So the first one is the power phrases. So using power phrases to train your students to share and prompt or promote a discussion in class. It's a helpful tool for classes that are quiet or uncertain of how or what to share. So you can display this list of phrases to help students frame what they might share. So just kind of maybe have this on the board, or maybe have these, conversation cards you could write out. A verse I love is, a phrase that was insightful to me was, a lesson that I take away from this is, right? So these are just conversation starters. It's the initial step in that. So maybe have them practice that. And then what another lesson idea that goes really well with that is the lesson idea of keeping the conversation going. So they have the conversation starter for the one student, and then the conversation keeping it going. Before having a discussion in class, it can help to encourage students to listen carefully to each other. The following ideas could be given to students before the discussion. This could help them listen carefully to the other and create an edifying discussion that includes many students in the discussion. So just similarly, have some conversation prompts. So after a student shares maybe something, a verse that they liked or an insight, you have some ideas like, how do you add to it? That reminds me of, or I agree with that because. Another example of that is when, or that's a great point. This sum up, I like how you said this. The inquire. I'm not sure I understand, or I see your point, but what about, right? So these are just conversation starters or conversation, continuers that you can practice with your students as you help them initiate conversations, and then even just practice having the conversations. And seminary should be that kind of that safe, secure place where the individual they're talking to, we share beliefs, they know each other, there's a relationship. So it's good just to be able to practice that skill. And we really want them to develop that. So when they go out onto their missions, they're easily able to contact people and initiate those conversations and those invitations. And then later in their lives, it's going to be such a valuable skill for them to have. All right. So thank you for all that you do, and stay warm and cozy this weekend.